moment of the game. It is a super spike. This is what happens when a player attacks the ball hard and it hits the ground with a boom. We call this a super spike. And when we have a super spike, it's gonna go, here comes the boom, and you're gonna throw both hands in the air. Boom, here comes the boom, here comes the boom, here comes the boom, 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 boom. Let's go there, DJ. Super spike! Here comes the boom, 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 here comes the boom. Awesome. And for our last big moment of the game, it is called a fireball.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Athletics and Recreation Center on the campus of Queen's University for the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup. It is medal round Saturday, and we'll start off with the bronze medal match between the hosts from Canada and the Dominican Republic, and a rematch of pool play taking place earlier this week. I am Kyle Campo, joined alongside by Tom McCabe, and Tom, these two teams saw each other a few days ago in a pivotal pool play matchup to decide who was going to finish first and second. Canada coming away with a straight sets victory there. Both teams coming off a semifinal loss last night, so looking to sort of regroup, get grounded a little bit, reshift their focus, and try to leave the tournament here with a bronze medal. But again, maybe in this situation, after seeing each other, there might be some tactical adjustments and changes made from each side as they see each other for a second time. Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned Canada came away with a 3-0 victory in pool play, but the scores of each set, it was a much closer game than, the overall result made it seem really close sets, especially the first and the third set. Dominican Republic staying within 2 or 3 points of Canada. Really even matchup, and like you said, both teams have seen each other now, so they'll have some adjustments that they can be mindful of going into this game, and then as well as some adjustments from the semifinals that they both had. Yesterday, Canada really struggled on serve receive against Mexico, losing a tough match in 5 sets. Meanwhile, the Dominican Republic were swept by the United States. So both teams obviously coming out with a little bit of hunger after a loss yesterday and want to come away, win the final match of the tournament, and go home with the bronze medal. We'll see if any of these starting lineups have significant changes. Looks as though the only switch for the Dominican Republic will be having Crystal Mercedes in the starting lineup instead of Jacarlis Lima. And again, we'll see if anything shifts for the Canadian starting lineup. Orlina Ruiz still anchoring the defense for the Dominican Republic. Encarnacion, Hernandez, Mercedes, Filpo, Arias, De Los Santos, the starting lineup for the Dominican Republic. As we get an introduction here of the starting lineup, Sofia Zabjak will be on the left side. And Lydia Jane Wigston will get the start here for Canada instead of Abby Wasutik. Maya Bukovcan. And Sol Henson will get the start here for Canada. Sol Henson coming into the game yesterday. Sydney Bell. Remy Katojo still running the offense as the starting setter for Canada. And Ashlyn Gent as the libero here for Canada as well. So the couple substitutions for Canada in terms of their starting lineup from yesterday, as Lydia Jane Wigston will take the place of Abby Wasutik. And Sol Henson will take the place of Emerson Matthews, who yesterday, Tom, had her best game of the tournament, was one of the engines that was driving that Canadian offense yesterday in that 5-set loss. It was an outstanding matchup between Canada and Mexico that went the way of Mexico, who will now play for gold later this afternoon against Team USA. But Matthews will give way to Sol Henson, who's going to start us off with the opening serve of the match. That's a float serve, passed up in tight. Encarnacion to the outside, off the block. Kept alive as that one looked like it was going to catch the sideline. Great block again by Canada. And they start off with a great net presence there as Wigston combines with Bell on that left side pin on the Dominican attack. Really good start for Canada on the blocking side of the ball. 2 great touches in the opening rally here to get things going. Henson gives one back on the service error. Just can't quite catch the baseline on that float serve. It goes a little bit deep and out the back, and the point goes to Dominican as Filpo will go back to serve. The spin server, it's going to go out the back and give one right back as she couldn't quite get the spin on that ball. And it's a service error this time for the Dominican Republic. Point back to Canada, and Wigston back to serve. Yeah, curious to see how Coach Gina Schmidt might utilize her bench here in this one. Kyle, you mentioned Matthews not on the court to start the game. She led the Canadian team yesterday at 19 points, 17 kills. So somewhat surprising to see her on the bench to start this one, but like we saw in the first game, Gina Schmidt not afraid to go to her bench if needed. Against the Dominican Republic, did not go as deep as they did in their first pool play game. So curious to see if she does utilize the bench here, but I know she wants to see a little bit more discipline from her squad today.
said yesterday that they've really struggled with serve receive. That's going to be a huge key. Last game against the Dominican, Canada really dominated in the middle. And so if they can control their first touch on serve receive, keep their middles involved, let that offense kind of spread out a little bit more, showing more options across the net, that's going to be a big key for them today.
And Tom mentioned the middle and trying to establish it. Canada yet to have an opportunity to do so. So an attacking error on that right side pin this time. Pass from Zabjak comes in tight, and the overpass leads to a swing by Mercedes. And it's 4-2 for the Dominican Republic. And the overpass in serve receive and put home.
Really nice strong serve there from Arias as well. It's been one of the best servers for this Dominican team throughout the entire tournament. Averaging 8.3 kills and 11.3 points. We see another tough serve, handcuffing Canada.
That one off the platform of Sol Henson and into the Canadian bench. Point goes to the Dominican Republic. See Coach Gina Schmidt giving Henson a bit of feedback on the serve receive. See maybe some adjustments to implement here. As another serve upcoming by Arias. This time it gets there from Zabjak, another overpass, and it's put home.
Curious if we see Schmidt take a timeout here. 3 straight serves, just handcuffing the Canadian serve receive. Kind of right on cue. We're talking about Canada needing to control that first touch, and right now they just need to get something up high, even something high in the middle of the court. Just try to get an attack, get a side out.
Another strong serve and a great pass this time by Henson. Set into the middle. Comes in tight. Canadian block has to get off. Kept alive by Katojo. Turning on it still is Zabjak. Encarnacion into the middle and a big block as Maya Bukovkin with a big side out for Canada. Great block timing there. And mentioned the importance there, Tom, of the serve receive, making that adjustment. Great pass and reception that time by Canada. They're able to be in system and then get a big block back the other way.
Yeah, and a great dig in the back row by Gent to extend that rally, allow Canada to keep it in it. And they get a crucial side out there off a good serving run from Arias.
Miscommunication there on second ball leads to a free ball opportunity here now for Canada. Katojo to the right side, tipped over by Bukovkin. Encarnacion to the left side, off the block and out of play. Good use of the tool that time by De Los Santos. Knowing that full well that the block was there, that there was going to be contact on it, just maybe change the location of where she swings into and enough pace to have it tool off the hands.
Yeah, good aggressive swing from Hernandez there.
And a joust at the net, won by the Dominican Republic as Amber Hernandez presses back in the first technical timeout of the opening set, has the Dominican Republic with a 5-point advantage. It's 8-3 to start here, and maybe the story of this early stage of the set here, Tom, has been maybe the service pressure from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, we saw the Dominican Republic had a lot of service errors in their first game against Canada, but they serve very aggressively. 2 different players, Arias as well as the captain Filippo, have strong spin serves. And then Mercedes as well, the outside, another strong float server. So sometimes they trade off a few errors, a few points. Here we're seeing some really good service pressure though early on, kind of making things tough on the Canadian side. You saw a lot of the Canadian players coming off the court, going into this technical timeout, taking a glance at that scoreboard, seeing that in a hole early here. So important for them is to regroup, to try to focus on that first touch. I'd say the one bright spot right now, Canada's looked pretty good on the blocking side of the ball. A lot of good block touches, a few points off blocks here. It's going to be really crucial just to try to focus, get a good first touch, try to get some quick side outs, not let the Dominican Republic go on any extended runs.
De Los Santos with the serve off the arms there of Henson. Brought back in, swings away there is Zabjak. Able to keep it alive though and sent back over. A free ball opportunity here for Canada. Passed up by Gent. Katojo to the left side. Zabjak off the top of the block. And Canada converts out of the timeout. They trim the deficit back to 4. It's 8-4, and Zabjak back to the service line. That'll bring Sol Henson into the front court for the first time in the opening set. Zabjak scrambling to get there, sent over on the free ball. Katojo on 2, kept alive, no, can't get there. Defense moving around and couldn't quite get their footing settled. And another point to the Canadians, they're back within 3.
We saw Katojo in that first in the pool play game against the Dominican Republic, really got herself involved in the offense, was not afraid to go for the set or dump. We also saw her being pretty aggressive at the net.
Dug up out of the back row and scrambling to get there is Katojo, sent over by Jensen. The free ball, now an opportunity the other way for the Dominican Republic. Henson kind of reaches there and gets a touch on the block. Defense was maybe tucked under, Gent was there, but always tough to know sometimes, Tom, if the defense is tucked in behind and will make that ball to pick it up, or if reaching back is the right play to keep it alive if the defender is withdrawn a little bit. 9-5, the advantage at a service error that's well out the back this time, and Canada gets a free one back. (9-6) for the Dominican Republic, and Maya Bukovkan back to serve and brings Lydia Jane Wixton into the front row. Here is Bukovkan. Deep float serve, can't find the sideline. And it's a service error this time for Canada. It's 10-6. Anna Encarnacion back to serve with a 4-point advantage. Passed up by Henson. Katojo back to Henson, and a big swing from Sol Henson, cuts around the block and paints the tee. And a big side out there for Canada, Sol Henson on the attack.
Yeah, great swing from the Canada captain there on the outside. Good quick side out, Canada now within 3. So it's sort of seeming to settle in a little bit after heading into that first technical down by 5, now cutting that down to just 3.
Float serve by Katojo is a good one. Gets the serve receive moving from Orlina Ruiz, and it's an ace for the Canadian setter.
Crucial to have Katojo back serving. That means now Canada has 3 attackers up in that front row.
Another good serve by Katojo, pulls him out of system, being attacked out of the back row. Set to the left side, Henson with the tip over the top. And they're scrambling to get there defensively from the Dominican Republic. They do get a touch, but can't keep it alive.
Just a good smart shot there on the outside from Henson. Set was a little bit tight to the net. Rather than trying to stay aggressive, just going for the safer play. Canada yesterday mentioned they struggled on offense, just hitting 34%, which is their lowest of the tournament, and 33 attacking errors, which is by far the most that they've had so far.
Canada back within 1, 3 straight points. A good serve by Katojo. Takes the middle out of the equation. With block able to get over, but good conversion there by Julia Arias. She's able just to kind of throw tip off the top of the block and side out there for the Dominican Republic. Good location on the serve there though, Tom, is Katojo able again take the middle out, allow the block to anticipate the only option there to just set to the left side. Here is Hernandez on the serve. Passed up by Henson, second ball. Back to Henson on the left side, good swing, and it's dug up well by Ruiz. Back to the left side to Los Santos, but a block by Bell and Wixton. As they get high above the tape, go and meet the ball and convert for the double block. It's 11-10.
Another really good blocking touch there from the Canadians. Dominating so far in terms of block points.
Adjusting there on the right side ball was Arias, and a left side swing, or left-handed swing out of the right side by Sydney Bell, goes hard cross, and we're tied at 11.
Really good out of system shot there on the right side. Those are the type of shots that the Canadian team really needs to try to find, especially out of system. Stay aggressive with it, but just aim for that back third of the court.
Great serve by Henson, and this time the serve receive from the Dominican side of the net. Tom having a bit of a struggle, and they'll take a timeout to talk things over. And again, we saw the service pressure being a difference maker in the early stages of the opening set here from the Dominican Republic side of things. Canada making some adjustments, locking in a bit more in their serve receive and improving their pass quality as a team. And now the other side, they're kind of coming back with their own service pressure, forcing some adjustments in serve receive and on defense from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I think we're really going to see that the difference in this game is going to come down to that first contact on serve receive. Both teams showing some good pressure here, like you mentioned, and a really good response from Canada, going on a 9-3 run here in the middle of this first set, right back into the match with a 1-point lead. We see a bit of a momentum shift. See if Canada can continue to capitalize.
12-11 coming out of the timeout. As Canada has closed the gap here midway through this first set. 4 points to push here now to get to the second tech timeout. Out of system, high ball set to the left side, and a good tip again, that time by De Los Santos. Again, seeing that the defensive coverage of Canada a little bit withdrawn and towards the perimeter, and able to see a bit of a gap in front. It tips over the top, pulls the Dominican Republic back level. Spin serve upcoming here by Filpo. Pass by Zabjak, set into the middle. Kept it alive and gonna tip over this time. First ball taken by Bell, set into the middle again, and reaching for it is Wigston. Set was a little bit in front of her, Tom, but she's able to make enough contact. It gets it away from the block, and the defense may be expecting a hard-driven ball, and they score with that sort of misdirection off-speed shot.
Yeah, good adjustment in the air there from Wigston in the middle. She set the one key lineup change for Canada, having Wigston in the middle. Came in with 2 good attacks there in that last rally.
Short serve from Wigston goes into the net, gives the point and serve back to the Dominican Republic. It's Julie Arias.
It'll be crucial here for Canada to try not let Arias get on another run like she had early in this first.
Good pass up, set into the middle. Can't quite get there as Bukovkin set a little bit behind her there, Tom.
Yeah, Katojo just trying to force it just a little bit there. She's coming away towards the attack line. Wanted to find Bukovkin, who's been so good in the middle for this Canadian team. Just not able to get the connection there from Katojo to Bukovkin.
And Arias chasing that one, it looked like, from the onset of the toss there, Tom. It's a little bit too high, maybe a little bit too far in front as well, and having to go and meet it, and that one looked like it was a bit off from the start. Can't get any snap on it, goes out the back, and we're gonna get Anna Nastasi to come in to serve for Sydney Bell, and this was a substitution that Canada used quite a bit last night, Tom, and Nastasi was excellent in that third set comeback from the service line. Set from Encarnacion to the outside, off the block, as Katojo combines with Bukovkin, and Nastasi will go back for her second service opportunity.
Yeah, and that's the 4th blocking point for Canada in this first set. A really good job out front of the net. Curious to kind of see what the offense is going to look like here for Canada, as they now have 2 setters on the court.
Well, we saw it a little bit yesterday, Tom, when they made that substitution. Initially, you saw Katojo kind of asking Coach Gina Schmidt if she was going to be swinging or setting to maybe bring that other attacking option in the front row. They stayed with Katojo as the front court hands and allowed Nastasi to maybe jump in with some out-of-system work and to play some defense. As that takes us to the technical timeout, but you're right, it does offer sort of a different tactical look by having Nastasi on the floor and having Katojo, who does have a great presence as an attacker, to maybe shift that focus a little bit and bring that into the Canadian game plan. We didn't see it as much yesterday, but certainly an option that Canada can have on the floor when they do have Nastasi and Katojo on together. Yeah,
we had Nastasi coming into the game in a double sub situation earlier in pool play, trying to keep back row hands and allow Canada 3 attackers up front. But in that last rotation, Katojo was in the front row and she went across to be the active setter. Nastasi's there in that back row, can sort of act as a second set of hands in case Katojo's taken out of the rally. We'll see if she comes right back out onto the floor and stays in for Canada as we get to the later stages of this first set.
16-15, the advantage for Canada. They get to the second tech timeout with a 1-point advantage. That'll be a substitution for the Dominican Republic. We'll bring in Estelle Santos to play some defense for Harlene De Los Santos. So that substitution a few times in the matchup in pool play as well. Passed up by Ruiz. Santos, forearm set to the outside pin, hard cross shot. Second ball back to Henson, tips over the top. Now Canada back in a free ball transition. Back to the left side. Henson off the block. Ruiz gets there. Encarnacion to the right side ball, but it's set location off a little bit. Has to go over on a free ball. And scrambling to get there is Gent and sends that one over. Encarnacion. Scripted C-ball this time. Finds Julie Arias. Swings hard off the block and tools out of play. We're tied back at 16.
There's some miscommunication there. It seemed on the Canadian side, few broken plays weren't really able to stay in system. And Arias with a great dig as well on the Dominican Republic side. Probably the best rally we've seen so far in this match.
And a serve pulling Gent forward. Gives the advantage back to the Dominican Republic. Back-to-back points has them in the lead. With Crystal Mercedes back to serve. It's a pop float this time. Good pass on receive. Set back to Bukovkin on the step around. Henson will slow it down. Set back to Bukovkin again on the step. To the C-ball. Arias down the line. Good pickup by Gent. Back to Henson. Good cross cut by Sol Henson. And Canada converts, finds a way to side out and tie this one up.
Great dig by Gent there. The Canadian libero to extend that rally. Well, Henson, you got a good swing to end that off and tie the game back up at 17s.
Bukovkin to serve. Brings Wigston into the front row. Good serve by Bukovkin, but it's passed up well into the middle. And a great route this time run by the Dominican Republic. They find Victoria Filpo. And we haven't seen a ton of middle routes run from the Dominican side of things, Tom, but a great execution of it there. Perfect pass, set, and attack from the Dominican Republic. They're back in front.
Yeah, Filpo's been averaging just under 10 points per match in this tournament, but only about 4 kills. So it's been kind of interesting. She's really making herself known, not just on offense. Great blocker, very strong server as well. We talked about it quickly in the matchup in pool play, but Filpo actually playing her high school volleyball over in Japan. Quite an interesting route to take, but definitely getting some good reps and playing in a really strong high school league over there.
Henson on the last attack for Canada. The substitution back as Bell back into the front row, and Nastasi back to the bench for the time being. Passed up by Zabjek to the right side. Bell, great swing, it's dug up. They can't keep it alive, and Sydney Bell, their biggest swing of the set so far, Tom, with a attack on that right side pin.
Yeah, great serve from Katojo to start off that rally. Dominican Republic having no choice but to send a free ball over, and then Canada capitalizing to go up by 1, leading to a timeout from Dominican Republic.
So 19-18, the advantage for Canada. What's been a great back and forth in this opening set of the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal match. As the gold medal match will follow later this afternoon, featuring a rematch of pool play. It was a 3-0 straight sets win for the United States over Mexico. And both teams coming away with semifinal victories yesterday. Very different scripts in terms of how those teams arrived at the gold medal match. Mexico with a 5-set thriller here against the Canadians. And the Americans clinical in their semifinal win, a straight sets victory over the Dominican Republic. As we come back out of the timeout, Encarnacion to the left side off the block. Picked up defensively, they'll try again. Goes off speed this time. Passed up by Katojo. Forearm set back in tight. Adjust there as Bell. Dominican called on the net. Point goes to Canada. They're up by 2.
Yeah, a little tight set from Gent, the libero, on that out of system offense for Canada. I think the Dominican Republic just wanted to tried and get up early, reach over. Thought maybe that set was coming over the net, but a little too eager, ends up on the net.
Encarnacion, they tip into the middle to Filpo. Katojo to the pipe. Zabjak finds the baseline. And we haven't seen an in-system pipe set a whole lot, Tom, but they run that very well to Zabjak. Katojo was pulled off the net, and it was a natural sort of set and route to run there for Zabjak to set her up, and she converts very well.
Yeah, only the second kill of this match so far for Zabjak, who's been one of the kind of anchors of this Canadian offense. Been almost in double figures basically in every match. Had 15 points yesterday in the semifinal against Mexico.
Great response that time by Mondesi. Swings hard off the hands, and as such will now come off the floor and give way back to Amber Hernandez, who's going to go in and serve. Back within 2, it's 21-19. And that'll also bring Harleni de los Santos back into the front row for the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, good to have de los Santos for the Dominican Republic back in that front row.
Hard float serve, passed up by Henson. She'll get it back on the set. Great swing by Henson. Cuts around the block, and Katojo with the assist. Just leads Henson into a spot where she can swing through the window of the block and converts. It's 22-19.
That's a tough shot, cutting that ball cross court. But a great side out there from Canada on a tough serve.
High ball set out of system, tipped over, and it's an effective one again by De Los Santos. She's been able to find that off-speed shot, Tom, quite a few times in this set. She brings a pretty hard sort of swing when she is using all of the pace and power. So again, the Canadian block adjusting for that, and this time an off-speed shot works again. Pass goes in tight, great fix. Can it get sent over? Gent able to scramble to do so. In tight to the tape on the Dominican side this time. Set back to the left side, Zabjak. Passed up by Hernandez. She'll get it sent back over to De Los Santos, and they'll try for the second time. Tipped in. Looking for a call on the net. The Dominican sent over again. Great dig and defense. Set to the left side. Zabjak puts it away. No. Kept alive as having to keep it there was Katojo. Zabjak tries again out the back. No touch called. They will call a touch.
Dominican Republic obviously not happy with that one. Filpo is going to go over and try to get some kind of explanation. Looked like Dominican Republic maybe got away with a lift in that middle of that rally as well. Canada was really strong on the block though, about 3 solid block touches throughout that rally. As Filpo kind of pleading with the first referee, gets some sort of explanation.
So the up official makes the call that there was a touch. So still not in agreement with it. The point is going to go to Canada. As coach Alex Chicato frustrated that there wasn't that there was a touch call there. But Canada's up 23-20, set into the middle. Good side out though right away from Crystal Mercedes. Converts for the Dominican Republic. They're back within 2. But it's late in this set as Henson's going to come off the floor. As Fermaniak is going to stay on the floor for serve receive and defense here for Canada to close out the set. Passed up by Zabjak. Katojo into the middle. Bukovcan off the arms and into the stands. Brings us to set point for Canada. They're up 24-21.
Great side out there. A great run into the middle to Bukovcan. Katojo and Bukovcan struggled a few times early in the set. Haven't been perfectly synced, but a great run to the middle there to give set point for Canada.
Set from Bell to the outside, free ball opportunity here now for Canada. Can they put an end to the set? They run it to Bukovcan to catch the sideline. No, point to the Dominican Republic. And that's the step around route that hasn't had as much success so far in this set than we've seen throughout the tournament, Tom. They run it again. Bukovcan, the timing there a lot better, just couldn't quite find the run.
Yeah, you're going to see Bukovcan going a lot to that right-hand side whenever Katojo's in the front row, trying to split and spread out that offense for Canada.
A service error from the Dominican Republic puts an end to the opening set. Canada takes it 25-22, and they lead the bronze medal match 1-0. Join us back for the second set. You're watching the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal match here on CBC Sports. Welcome back to the Athletics and Recreation Center. Getting set for second set action here for the NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup U19 Challenge. Is the semifinals. Canada taking the opening set 25-22. And Tom have now won 4 straight sets against the Dominican Republic from pool play now into this this bronze medal matchup. And we'll see if they can continue that and get a 2-0 lead. And they get the step around this time to Wigston. Right side ball sets through off the top of the block, get out of play. Wigston gets over to block there with Henson. But it tools and comes wide of the courts, and the point goes to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and just looking at the stats from the first set quickly, both teams pretty evenly spread on the attacking side of things as well as serving. Both teams with 2 aces and both teams with 13 kills in that first set. But really, I think where we saw the separation was just the Canadian block presence at the net. 4 blocking points compared to none for the Dominican Republic. So that was a huge advantage for Canada to have early on. See if they can continue that throughout the second set and throughout the match.
Set into the middle this time, picked up by Katojo. Second ball set by Henson to the outside, cuts down the line and finds the sideline. Does Sophia Zabjak. Canada back in front. Same starting lineup for Team Canada. So again, Zabjak and Henson as the 2 left sides. Bell on the right side. Katojo running the offense as the setter. And Lydia Jane Wigston and Maya Bukovkan out of the middle. Katojo takes second ball. They run the pipe to Henson, who's going to get recycled. Set to the left side. Zabjak comes back off of her on the attack. And the point goes to the Dominican Republic. We're tied at 2. See a few changes, though, for the Dominican Republic. Namely, Varelis Rivera in on the left side here for the Dominican Republic. And the swing from Zabjak over top of the block. Was searching for high hands there, Tom, and couldn't find them. And as a result, the ball goes out the back, and it's a point to the DR.
Yeah, and 2 straight attacking errors there from Zabjak. Just a little long at that one in the previous play. Was trying to just swing off the block, but ended up stuffing it into the net.
And an ace on the serve, this time by the Dominican, Amber Hernandez. And it's a 4-2 advantage for the Dominican. Hernandez back to serve again. Off the arms there of Henson. Good forearm set to the left side, though, from Gent. Set to the left side, Rivera tips over the top. Getting there is Katojo. Henson, forearm set back to the right side. Cuts across, and contact made there by Encarnacion. Looked like a little bit of indecision to see if she was going to play that up or not, Tom, and then at the last second decides to, but maybe not in the best position to bring it back in.
Yeah, it looked like that attack might have been going just a little bit wide, so Encarnacion, a little bit of indecision, tries to go for it. Gives Canada a point to bring them back within 1.
Good one-handed set to keep it alive, but maybe not seeing the set coming across there was Varelis Rivera's. Maybe her sight line taken away by Philpo running her route in the middle. Just a bit scrambly there on that side by the Dominican Republic. It's tied at 4. And into the net on the service error from Lydia Jane Wigston. Spin server upcoming. Passed up by Henson. To the right side to Bell, down the line. As Sydney Bell swings away and catches Amber Hernandez. Point goes to Canada.
Yeah, great swing on the right side there.
Looks like she's able to get her platform up enough to protect her face on that swing by Bell.
And also a really key side up from Canada. They're not allowing Philpo, one of the strongest servers for the Dominican Republic, to go on a run.
Dominican called out of rotation. See if she left a bit early here on the replay.
I think they're just calling it on the Dominican setter there.
Encarnacion.
Looked like she left too early. She may have been out of position, maybe just too far. Yeah, I think she was just too far on the right-hand side of the back row left side, Hernandez, so she's just going to have to kind of readjust her starting position there.
Overpass now leads to a flush back out of the middle by Bukovkan. Maybe taking away the mental focus on that last out of rotation call leads to a missed touch and receive, and another point for Canada. They're up by 2. 7-5, and Sydney Bell back to serve. And it's a good one. Kept alive, but it's going to be a free ball now. Bell. Pass comes up, Katojo to the left side. Passed over there, and Dominican called on the net. And converting again is Sophia Zabjak, and that'll take us to the first technical timeout. Canada with an 8-5 lead. So a good run by the Canadians to get this 3-point gap at the first official timeout here. And again, they're leading 8-5 as both teams come back to the huddle to talk things over and come back onto the floor and see if they can implement some of that feedback.
Yeah, quick run from Canada puts them up 3 points. Few good serves from Bell. And Canada benefiting from that out of rotation call against the Dominican Republic.
Earlier this afternoon, our first match of the day was the 6th and 7th place finale, as Puerto Rico finishing the tournament in 6th and Costa Rica in 7th. Venezuela finishing the tournament in 5th with a victory yesterday. And again, this one for 3rd and 4th, and our 1st and 2nd matchup taking place later this afternoon. And a great serve this time by Bell. Gets the platform of Amber Hernandez moving, and we'll get a substitution. It will be for Encarnacion as Vargas is going to come onto the floor. Maybe just a different look here for the offense from the Dominican top. Passed up, Vargas gets there on second ball to the outside to Rivera, and a block by Katojo and Bukovkan, and difficulty getting out of this rotation, Tom. It's continuing to compound here for Canada as they continue to build, compounding for the Dominican. And another great timing on the block there with anticipation of knowing where maybe that ball was going to be set based on the pass quality.
Yeah, Dominican just struggling a little bit here on first touch.
Set into the middle, block there for Canada once again. Katojo into the middle, the swing, and it's dug up but can't keep it alive. And another substitution coming as Santos is going to come onto the floor for Rivera. So maybe to stabilize, we've seen Santos come in as a defensive substitution a handful of times here for Harleni de los Santos. Now does the same for Varelis Rivera. We'll see if that stabilizes the receive, and if the Dominican can find a way to side out, they'll do so without having to make contact from the service error. As Coach Chicato will keep the same group on the floor for now, despite getting service back. It's 11-6 the advantage. Passed up by Gent. Scramble to keep it alive. Gent sends it over. Set to the left side to Santos. Gets it through. And we see Estelle Santos moving into the front row here, Tom. She's staying in for the time being for Rivera.
Yeah, a really good swing there from Santos on the side. One of the smaller players on the court right now.
11-7. Good serve, passed up by Henson. Katojo to the right side, swing by Bell, finds the baseline. As Sydney Bell puts enough pace on it to get away from the block, but has it dip to catch the baseline. Good shot there by the Canadian right side. It's 12-7.
Yes, that was a little bit behind her. Probably needs just a little more lead from Katojo, but a really smart swing there, finding the back third of the court.
Overpass leads to a joust and just sort of sent over. And it's an attacking error out of the back row as things continuing to unravel a little bit here, Tom, for the Dominican Republic. An attacking error that time by Amber Hernandez, who's been so solid throughout the course of the tournament. And just a tough stretch here in the middle of the set, or the early stages of this set for the Dominican Republic, and Canada taking advantage. Better pass that time and receive though. Santos off the block, and another conversion by Estelle Santos.
Great job by Santos coming in off the bench. 2 kills quickly in the front row. She goes back to serve now.
Off the tape, kept alive there. Dominican looking for a lift call. Set to the left side, having to adjust is Hernandez. Katojo dumps it over, good location. It's a scramble from the Dominican, but they keep it alive. Bell to Katojo, to the step around Bukovcan. Great dig out of the back row by Santos. And the swing into the middle. And staying on top of it, Zabjak with a good swing out of the back row. To the left side, Hernandez, passed up by Gent, great rally. Katojo left side, Henson! Off and out of play as Sol Henson puts an end to the rally. So finds the gap in the hands of the block, and off and out of play. And the lead extends, it's 14-8 for Canada.
Great rally there, probably the best we've seen in the second set so far. Both teams playing some really strong defense. Henson coming away with her 7th kill. Just 1 now behind Sydney Bell, who leads this game in points.
Service error that time by Bukovcan. Can't quite catch the tape and get the friendly roll. It comes backwards. And it's a free point back for the Dominican Republic. And now it'll be Crystal Mercedes back to serve. Off the arms there of Zabjak and into the stands for the ace.
Dominican Republic really going to try to focus on putting some pressure on the Canadian team from the service line if they want to try to claw themselves back into this second set.
Passed up by Zabjak. Katojo into the middle. Off-speed shot that time by Wigston in the middle. Passed up by Bell to the outside. Henson cuts it back. Forearm set back to the left side. Gent to Katojo to the left side. Henson down the line and buries it. And a big swing that time by Sol Henson.
Really strong match so far for Sol Henson. The UBC Thunderbirds commit.
You can see it there as well, Tom, on the step around decoy by Wigston, keeping the block a little bit frozen as it catches a friendly roll there on the serve. Swing out of the back row. It's a good one, but dug up well by Gent. Sent over on the free ball. Free ball transition time now for the Dominican, and a big swing off the block, but it's able to get corralled back in to the left side. Henson swings again. Good defense by both of these sides on this rally. Gets a stab at it as Katojo, and then a standing down ball there from Gent. To the left side, it's tight to the tape. Having to adjust though is Hernandez, and the point goes to the Dominican Republic. And a hard-earned side out that time from the DR. It's 15-11, and Mondesi's going to come back onto the floor.
And Hernandez there just getting the volley tool, which you don't see a whole lot. Using 2 hands and just pushing that off the outside of the Canadian block. Bring the DR back within 4.
Passed up by Gent. Katojo to the outside. Swing by Henson. Off the top of the block, and what a find on the set that time by Remy Katojo to get Henson in stride, and converts out of the left side pin. 16-11, Tom, for Canada at this second technical timeout of this second set.
Yeah, a nice aggressive swing by Henson there leading into the technical timeout. Not the best pass, but Katojo able to get it outside to Henson, who's been so good early on in this match.
And back to the sort of play we talked about, Tom, on the step around, and we've seen Canada run it quite a bit, especially obviously when they have front hands with Remy Katojo and they allow their middles to stay active and take those steps and swing out of the right side pin. But even when they decide not to run it, having that route continue to happen there, as we talked about, keeps the block a little bit neutral. They have to respect that they might run that step around to the right side, which can sometimes, especially if the block scheme cheats and tries to anticipate that route being the execution of the set, it allows a lot more one-on-ones to the outside.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier, Canada had a really strong game in the middle against the Dominican Republic in pool play. They had 9 kills and 15 total points from their 2 middles, which compared to just 4 kills from the Dominican Republic middles. One of the key positions where it seems like Canada's had an advantage. Having that step around option is going to have to keep the Dominican Republic block a little more honest, not allow them to cheat too much, as they really have to worry about covering both sides.
And Sydney Bell with the tip over top of the block. And the lead for Canada up to 6. We'll see if Coach Chicato goes back to the bench, and he will call a timeout, though, to talk things over here. Frustrated with the lack of execution from his personnel on the floor at the moment, Tom. But again, we'll see if they end up making some personnel changes and get some other looks on the floor. They've made a couple substitutions throughout the course of the set so far.
Dominican just really scrambling a lot, especially on offense. They're playing some solid defense, but just not getting quite the quality of dig that's going to allow their offense to stay in system. Really allowing the Canada block to cheat a little bit, being able to follow that play. We've mentioned several times Canada really strong on the blocking side of the ball throughout this match. It's helped them extend to a 6-point lead here. Really in control of this second set.
They're going to get called on the net.
I think it's going to be a center line fault on the setter there.
Vargas was across the center line, looked like she clipped the net as well. So another frustrating point loss there for the Dominican Republic. But credit to the service pressure from Henson from forcing that pass to come in tight to the tape. This time it's well off and a good swing out of the middle. Henson gets a good touch. Forearm set back, Henson stays on it, but just tips it over the top out of the back row. Set to the left side, it's in tight again as Mondesi has to adjust to it, and then the second chance through. I think Mondesi surprised herself a little bit on that second contact, being able to find the floor. But it's back within 6, 18-12.
Something kind of interesting we've seen a few times here from the Dominican Republic is trying to get Philpo, the team captain, involved in the middle. We saw it in that last rally. I think we've seen it a second time now, where setter has just kind of thrown sort of a high meter ball into the middle, just trying to allow Philpo to get involved. We've said the Dominicans really been scrambling on offense, haven't been able to have a lot of in-system swings, kind of a unorthodox approach in the middle. Usually you want to try to keep things fast, keep that ball guessing, but you just sort of see how much they want to get the team captain Philpo involved in the offense.
Tool on the last attack by Zabjek gives Canada back the ball as Fermaniak's going to come in to serve for Bukovcan, and it's shortened into the net. And they're going to leave Fermaniak on the floor and actually have Gent come in for Sol Henson. So Fermaniak, the left side, Tom, coming in to serve for Bukovcan out of the middle, and then having Gent come in for Henson, who's the active left side in the rotation. Tojo trying to go with a one-handed set and still execute out of the middle. And again, just leaves a little bit differently coming out of that one-handed set from the middle, anticipating where the ball is going to come in terms of location and pace. And just a missed touch that time. 19-14. And a great spin serve, great pass though by Zabjak. She gets it back off the net. Second ball to the right side pin, and a good swing through from Rainey Mondesi. And the Dominican Republic are back within 4, 19-15.
And a good pickup there on the left side from Santos. And a tough roll shot allowing that rally to continue, and then a good swing on the right side.
Another strong serve as Katojo sets the right side ball to Bell. Pass comes in tight and having to adjust to the net. Point's going to go to Canada. Again, sort of squaring up to the net to try to make the set there. And it just drifts over top of the tape, Tom, and perfect timing for Canada to get up and see that it had come across and just flush it back.
Yeah, another example there on that rally where kind of a not totally out of system, but a bit of a roll shot there on the right side for Canada, and the Dominican Republic is not able to get a quality touch on defense. Leads to a tight dig, and then Canada is able to flush it down.
Attacking error this time by Santos will lead to another Dominican Republic timeout. And Anastasi back onto the floor, Tom, as a serving substitution. as Canada leads 21-15. Again, are leading this match 1-0. They already have a 25-22 opening set victory and looking to continue their success against the Dominican Republic in this tournament. And going a perfect 5 for 5 in terms of sets won when you include their pool play matchup earlier in the week and the opening set here in this bronze medal match. Both timeouts now used by the Dominican Republic in this set, and we're past the 16-point juncture of the tech timeout. So the Dominican Republic have to sort things out the rest of the way on the floor here, Tom, of course, unless Canada calls a timeout before the end of this set.
Yeah, Dominican Republic just needs to try to get something going on offense. Only 6 points scored offensively in this set compared to 13 for Canada.
That one catches a friendly roll off the tape and slows it down enough to paint the sideline. We'll get a substitution back as Arias going to come back in. And we've talked about Arias, Tom, as someone who generates a lot of service pressure for the Dominican Republic with her spin serve. We'll see if she can steal a couple here and force Canada to make some adjustments, or if they can get her off the line in a hurry. Pass comes in tight. Katojo on second ball leads to an overpass back, and wisely letting that one go is Sofia Zabjek. And they get perhaps the strongest Dominican server off the line without any damage done.
Yeah, big side out there from Canada. Dominican Republic kind of read that dump well from Katojo, but she was able just to put enough force on it. Dominican Republic wasn't able to continue the rally.
It's served by Zabjek, leads to a joust at the net, kept back by Vargas. To the outside, Santos with the roll. Good execution that time by Estelle Santos, and she's come in a few times throughout the tournament as a sort of defensive and stabilizing force on defense, Tom, but has been a really effective attacker since making her way into the front row.
Yeah, doing a good job getting involved in the offense, some smart shots offensively.
Tojo runs into the middle, scrambling to keep it alive, can't get there as they execute with Bukovkin. And that'll bring Wigston back onto the floor, as Brooke Fermaniuk will come back to the Canadian bench. 23-17, a 6-point gap here for Canada. Would be happy trading the rest of the way, but certainly an opportunity to push two here. It's a serve into the net. They give one back to the Dominican Republic, and now Crystal Mercedes will come back to serve.
Nastasi staying on the floor for Canada like we saw in the later stages of the first set. So Canada with two setters on the floor, which means there's going to be no kind of right side back row option for Katojo.
Set by Henson. It's a hard swing, but it's off the block. She'll get it again. Keeps the same pace. Set to the C ball, off the block, gets recycled back over. And a swing away by Katojo. And the Dominican Republic called on the net, but Katojo converts on the attack, and it's now set point. That'll bring Bell back onto the floor and bring Remy Katojo back to the service line with a number of set point opportunities.
Yeah, just a tough play leading to set point for the Dominican. Filpo trying to give an out of system set back over her head and just teeing it up perfectly for Katojo.
Set to the outside to Hernandez, off the block as Bell and Wigston combine for the double block as Canada takes the second set 25-18.
A very fitting end to that second set. Canada earning a 2-0 lead with another great block touch on defense. Really one of the spots that they have dominated throughout this match so far. Really helping to create a gap, put them in a comfortable spot heading into the third.
Canada takes the second set 25-18. They lead the match 2-0 in this bronze medal match at the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup. Join us back for the third set here on CBC Sports. welcome back to Queen's University in the Athletics and Recreation Center for the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal match between Canada and the Dominican Republic. Canada up 2-0, taking the second 25-18, and we'll start off the third with a serve from Remy Katojo. Forearm set back to the left side, tipped over to Los Santos, but sent back on the block by Sydney Bell.
Really strong performance from Canada in that second set. 16 points on the attack compared to just 8 for the Dominican Republic. Only 2 block points, which is down from the 4 in the first set, but Canada's showing some great presence up at the net. I think, like we said multiple times, Kyle, it's just going to be key. If Dominican Republic want to get back into this match, they need to try to get some better quality digs. Allow them to stay in system and clean things up a little bit on the server seat side as well. We see another scramble here leading to a free ball.
Passed up by Zabjak. Katojo into the middle. Good route by Wixton. As she cuts to her right, away from the Dominican block and off the platform and into the stands. Canada's up 2-1.
Nice swing there from Wixton. Ball's a little bit behind her head. Still able to turn it into a quality attack.
And another block there by Canada. Sent over into the free ball opportunity here. Passed up by Henson into the middle, and another run by Wixton. And we've talked about the success and the prowess that Canada has when they're in system attacks out of the middle, Tom, and they're demonstrating it here. 2 of the first 3 points of this set run by Lydia Jane Wixton. Another scramble there, sent over, and it's going to be out of play. And it's going to be a timeout taken here early on by the Dominican Republic, Tom, as they're starting to lose, it looks like, a little bit of their confidence. Just a bit scrambly on all 3 contacts on that sequence, and usually talk about the philosophy of trying to better the ball. If it's not a great first ball, then second, trying to make 2 and 3 that much better. Same with 3. If 2 is not great, but just a little bit of kind of unraveling on that sequence.
Yeah, just a tough sequence, exactly like you said. Poor first contact. And then the setter there, Vargas, was trying to force something to the outside, leading to a free ball, which Canada wasn't in perfect position for, so fortunate for them that it ended up going a little bit wide. But nonetheless, they'll take it.
Serve coming back in by Henson. Set back to the right side, and a swing down the line. Is a catch it? Yes. And a great side out there by the Dominican Republic, and they're back within 2.
A good pass, great set there from Encarnacion. Over close to the left-hand side. Able to flick it back there, and a good line shot.
Passed up by Henson and receive. High ball straight up on the swing by Bell, getting there. Good pickup, but can't bring it back central. Good pursuit of the ball that time by Julie Arias. Get contact on it, but just chases further and further away from the net. And the point goes to Canada with Lydia Jane Wixton. Back to serve, and this time it's a short one into the net. Service error this time from the Dominican Republic. Point goes to Canada. And it's a 6-3 advantage. Sydney Bell back to serve. Forearm set by Encarnacion, gets it to the outside, rolls over the top, finds the gap between Gent and Henson. As we see Abby Wasutik in the front row for Canada. So the only change of this lineup for the Canadians in this set is Wasutik coming in for Byakovkan, and she runs the step and gets caught up in the tape a little bit, but not much that Hernandez can do with it. And the point goes to Canada, and they're back up by 3.
I haven't seen Coach Schmidt go too much to the bench throughout this set. He's mentioned Wasutik coming in and getting some reps out of the middle there, sort of able to squeak a little tip shot through the block on that last play.
Good touch on the block that time by the Dominicans. That's to the outside, and Hernandez swings it through. Point goes to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, great block touch there from Dominican Republic, extending the rally. And I believe Canada called on the net there, bringing the Dominican Republic back within 2.
Forearm pass by Katojo to the outside, and Henson sort of leaning away from it that time. Tom's set was a little bit too far outside, and trying to adjust, but kind of bringing that right shoulder a little bit over. Can't quite get the attack she was looking for. The Dominicans within 1. Henson picked it up. Having to give Henson time to get back up and swing there was Katojo's. Had to go a high forearm set. And Katojo just going to send it deep in a good location by Remy Katojo. She sees the gaps in that Dominican defense there, Tom, and able to push it to the back corner, and that takes us to the first technical timeout. Canada leading 8-6.
Yeah, a little shrug of the shoulders there from Katojo. She gets the volley kill. Gonna volley it over, put it deep, just like we saw there. Good play, good court awareness. Canada back with the 2-point edge here at our first technical timeout.
Again, Canada leading the match 2-0. They take the opening set 25-22, the second 25-18. They're leading 8-6 here at the first technical timeout. Stay tuned to join us for the gold medal match that'll take place shortly after the conclusion of this matchup, tentatively slated for a 4 p.m. Eastern Time first serve. But we'll see, of course, how the rest of this match unfolds. That could be a later start time. But it will be the United States against Mexico to determine the gold and silver medals for the NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup.
USA going for their 3rd straight gold medal this tournament with a very young squad. As mentioned, it's a U19 tournament, but USA essentially a 16 and under team. Super impressive the way they've played throughout this tournament, only dropping 1 set so far.
Abby Wasutik with the service error goes into the net. As Henson will try to get it over on the free ball, but gets caught up and goes into the net, and we're tied at 8 points apiece.
Broken play there for Canada. Henson not able to get that free ball over the net. Canada really need to try to dial in the unforced errors if they want to end this match in 3.
Good out of system work that time by Canada. Good location on the high ball set that time by Ashlyn Gent, and then Henson stays with it, tips it over top of the block, right into the pot. And Canada back in front, it's 9-8. And Remy Katojo back to serve. Which brings the front court here, Tom, of Henson, Bell, and Wigston. So lots of length at the net. We talked about the success of Canada's block defense throughout the course of the tournament. Getting some great blockers in the front row right now for Canada. We'll see if that continues to be a strength of theirs.
Yeah, Bell's been one of the best blockers on the floor.
Passed up by Zabjak. Katojo gets it to Henson. Cross-court swing, but it's dug up well by the Dominican Republic. Tipped over, Canada on the net. Point's gonna go to the Dominican. And it's 10-9. Spin serve upcoming. Katojo to the left side. Encarnacion with a right side ball. Great swing that time by Arias. Off the hands of Katojo and out of play. And now the Dominican up by 2.
Yeah, really nice cross-court swing there from Julia Arias on the right side. She's starting to see lots of actions here from Encarnacion in this third set.
Off the tape on the serve by Philpo. Wigston runs in the middle. Quick off in transition, gets it to Bell. Has to just tip it over on third ball. Back to this right side attack, and another swing by Arias. Gets through the block of Henson and Wigston, and we're going to get a timeout taken here by Canada. And it's been a strong run and response back from the Dominican Republic top. Coming out of the tech timeout, Canada was in front. Dominican gone on a run here that has now pushed them into a 12-9 lead.
And Arias having a really strong third set so far on the right side for the Dominican Republic, now leading her team 8 points, 7 kills. And then Hernandez, the left side, just behind her with 5 kills of her own.
Nine, the advantage for the Dominican Republic, and trying to push this one into a 4th set in the very least. Set into the middle to Wigston, cuts around the block. Good job keeping it alive, and now sent over. Plenty of time for the Dominican Republic to get back in their defensive positioning. Set to the right side, recycles off the tip there from Henson. Forearm set back over Bell, and now Henson and Bell able to switch pins. Tip into the middle, good dig up by Henson. Encarnacion to the outside, over top of the block. Gent gets there, and still scrambled, kept alive by Canada. Dominican had already started celebrating. Rolled off the block, gets recycled. To the left side, out the back, off the hands though of Gent. And the point does go to the Dominican Republic. Good job by Canada to stay with it there, Tom, but in the end, the point does go to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, some good scrambling. Looked like that attack from Dominican maybe was going long, but Jen unable to get her hands down in time. Really key for Canada to try to get a good quality first contact and get out of this rotation.
Great pass on receive by Zabjak, and able to get it across to Katojo. And again, they have Bell and Henson sort of switched on their pins here right now, Tom, trying to get into a spot where they can get back to their more natural positioning as they try to get another side-out opportunity here. It's been a lengthy run that continues here. It's now up to 15-9.
I wonder if we're going to see Schmidt go to the bench here. Looks like Stojanovic is going to come in
for Bell.
I think maybe just for this specific rotation, just getting a different look on that outside.
Spin serve upcoming, pass comes in tight again, Katojo adjusts. Good find by Remy Katojo, and then Wigston just casually finds the back corner. And it's a side out for Canada. They're back within 5. As Stojanovic will stay on the floor here, Tom. Encarnacion to the right side, goes cross, Katojo gets a touch, Henson scrambles. Can they keep it alive? They will just do so. Encarnacion to the outside, swings through, great dig again by Gent. To the left side, Zabjak. Off the chicken wing that time to the outside, block! Wigston, Stojanovic with a massive point for Canada. They're back within 4.
Huge one for Canada there. Great scrambling on defense just to keep that rally alive. Gent with some great defense in the back row, and then a huge roof block to finish that one off. Canada is trying to claw themselves back into it.
Great set that time by Katojo to lead Stojanovic with it. Swing off the block this time, back the other way. And the point goes to the Dominican Republic, and that'll take us to the technical timeout. Dominican leading 16-11. And a good rally from the Dominican Republic after a couple points for Canada to trim the deficit to regain the 5-point gap.
Yeah, 5-point gap for Canada. 4 service errors, which has allowed the Dominican to stay in the lead. They haven't really been leading too much in this match. We saw them up early by 5 in that first set before Canada went on a solid run of their own to get back into it. As we were saying, Canada needs to try to stay disciplined, control what they can on their side of the floor, get some quality first contacts, and continue doing what's really separating this match so far, which has been their block defense.
(16-11) coming out of the tech timeout. Canada looking to claw back here and close this match out in 3 straight sets. The Dominican looking to push this bronze medal match into a 4th and ultimately a 5th for their benefit. Julia Arias with the service error that time. And that'll bring Wasutik back onto the floor and have Wigston to the service line.
And I'm sure the Dominican Republic would have been okay to skip that technical timeout if they had the option to. They had a lot of momentum going into that one. Now you have a missed serve, and Canada with a chance now to get back within 3.
Wigston with the service ace. As that one dips and dives at the tail end of the serve. And it's back within 3. 16-13.
Canada hoping to go on a similar run as they did in the first set. They were down by as much as 6.
And another tough reception that time. Hernandez swings away though. Katojo, forearm set, great location on it for Zabjak. No touch on the block. Point's going to go to the Dominican Republic. Again, a great set by Remy Katojo, giving Zabjak an opportunity. Swings away, maybe thinking the block would be set up with that out-of-system high ball. Enough time for the block to get over Tom. Zabjak does get over the block, but can't find the floor. 17-13 for the Dominican Republic, trailing 2-0. Passed up by Henson. Katojo back to the left side. Zabjak dug up well that time by Ruiz. Off the block and can't keep it alive. So separation continuing here for the Dominican Republic. They're back up by 5. Passed up by Zabjak into the middle. Good run by Wasutik. To the C ball, catches the net. As Arias with the attacking error. Stojanovic back to serve now for Canada. And it's off the tape. And goes out of play for the ace for Ana Stojanovic.
Yeah, great serve, first serve of the match. Came in, subbed out Sydney Bell just when Coach Schmidt wanted to get a different look. And Canada sort of trapped in their setter in one rotation. Stojanovic with a great job contributing here with a great first serve.
And a great ace this time again by Stojanovic. And in the blink of an eye, Canada's back within 2. Timeout taken by the Dominican Republic. We've had, again, some great moments throughout the course of the tournament from Canada, Tom, of being able to fight back from a deficit, especially late in the juncture of some sets. An outstanding job of doing so yesterday in the 5-set loss to Mexico, especially in that 3rd set, to claw back from 22-16 down to ultimately win that set. So a lot of resolve from this group, and trying to do so again here from the line from Stojanovic.
Yeah, we saw in the first set, coming back down 8-3 early on. And at one point down 15-9. Canada on a 7-3 run in this third set to bring them right back into it. Coach Chiquetto's calling a timeout, trying to stall that Canadian momentum a little bit. See if Stojanovic can put in another good, tough serve.
18-16, Stojanovic. It is a great serve, it's another ace. 18-17 as Stojanovic continues the run for Canada. That one off the platform of Hernandez and into the stands. And we'll see what Stojanovic has this time around. It's another hard serve, this time in tight to the tape. And Stojanovic maybe anticipating there, able to react in time. Good decision by Encarnacion to go over on 2. Stojanovic was there to get a touch on the ball, but couldn't keep it central. Back up by 2 are the Dominican Republic. Both serve, passed up by Henson, just sent over by Katojo out of necessity. On the block, it's kept alive. Just gonna get that two-handed flush out of the middle from the Dominican. Point stays with Canada, or rally stays with Canada for now. Good pick up by Henson, it's gonna stay in play. Second ball taken by Santos to the right side, sent over on the free ball. Scrambling to get there, Katojo was back into that back right corner. Another free ball opportunity here for the Canadians. Gent to the left side, Zabjak off the hands and out of play. Great activity on defense there, Tom, by Ashlyn Gent to keep things stable and alive for Canada, and then finished off by Zabjak.
Yeah, good swing from Zabjak on the left side. Canada finally able to convert a free ball opportunity there. With both teams kind of scrambling a little bit. Canada able to bring it back within 1.
Served by Zabjak. Encarnacion into the middle. They'll have to try again, gets tipped back over by Katojo. Tipped again this time. Katojo to the left side, Henson. Leans away, gets that one into the middle of the floor. Sent over on third contact with a high arcing forearm pass. As Katojo finds Wasutik to the outside, and Gent gets a touch. The point goes to the Dominican Republic. They're back up by 2.
Yeah, it looked like the Dominican really wanted to get lift called there on Wasutik. Not a great set from Katojo, trying to run that step around. Dominican back up by 2.
Encarnacion with the serve. Katojo to the outside to Henson. No touch on the block. Point goes to the DR.
See Coach Schmidt, yeah, she's going to take a timeout here. Talk things over with her squad as we're getting the late stages of this third set. Dominican Republic trying to extend this match.
It's a fight back by Canada to tie things up. After facing a deficit, they claw their way back on level terms, but it's been a response from the Dominican that have put this one at 21-18.
Both teams really applying the pressure from the service line. Talked early in the broadcast about how Canada seemed to struggle a lot on serve receive yesterday against Mexico. Struggled early on in this match. Dominican Republic with 5 points from the service line. Canada with 8, including 3 of them from Stojanovic, who came in off the bench.
Encarnacion out of the timeout, ready to serve here for the Dominican Republic. Passed up by Gent. Katojo to the outside. Henson swings away, but it's dug up by Ruiz. Encarnacion gets there. Passed up by Gent again. It's a good one. Back to Henson again off the block. Set into the middle, tipped over. Can't quite get there, Stojanovic. And another point for the Dominican. Their lead grows to 4. And they're now 3 points to push here to push this into a 4th set.
Great job there from Philpo getting up, and from Encarnacion finding her middle in transition there. Quick attack. And all Philpo needed was a little tip over to find the floor.
Henson has to adjust. Can't find it. And another point goes to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, just seeing some unforced errors from Canada. Nastasi's going to come into this game for Tojo to run the offense. Coach Schmidt just wanting to get a different look here on offense for Canada. Seen a few miscues from Katojo here late in this third set.
And off the arms there of Jensen into the stands. It's an ace for the Dominican Republic as Encarnacion with another strong serve, plenty of set point opportunities. Set point here for the Dominican. Off the arms of Zabjak and into the stands, and another ace for the Dominican setter as they take the third set 25-18 and extend the match and push this into a fourth. Canada still leads 2-1. Join us back for the fourth set. You're watching the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal match between Canada and the Dominican Republic on CBC Sports. Welcome back to the Athletics and Recreation Center at the campus of Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, Canada, for the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup. The bronze medal match between Canada and the Dominican Republic. Canada leading 2-1 as the Dominican Republic, with their medal aspirations at stake, claw back and get a much-needed third set victory, 25-18. And extend this one into a fourth. Yukovkan back onto the floor for Wasutik. And the rest of the Canadian lineup staying the same here, Tom. Henson and Zabjak on the left side as Henson gets first contact on serve receive. Bell tips over the top. Encarnacion to the right side, cuts back across. Getting a touch there was Katojo. Point goes to the Dominican Republic.
Ria's continuing right where she left off in the third. Led the way for Dominican, 5 kills in that last set. Now has 9 on the day.
Float serve by Encarnacion, paints the baseline for the ace.
for 35 on offense in that third set. It's been the only set so far where they have not led in attacking points within a set, so need to try to get things going again on offense here.
And the Dominican Republic convert again. The attack by Julie Arias out of the right side, and 3 straight points to start the set here for the Dominican Republic.
Arias now in double digits. 4 kills, 10 on the day. She's really anchoring this offense for the Dominican Republic.
This time a service error goes out the back, and that'll allow the rotation to shift here for Canada. Brings Bukovkin into the front row and Wigston to the service line.
Now serving to Canada is number 6, Lydia Jane Wigston.
And it's a 3-1 advantage for the Dominican, and a service error right back the other way as Wigston goes a few tiles too long. And it's 4-1. Amber Hernandez back to serve. Off the arms there of Henson. Forearm set to the outside. Zabjak attacking error. And another point for the Dominicans. Some early momentum here to start the set, Tom. Carrying it over from the third set victory.
And seen some unforced errors here from Canada. Sort of was their Achilles heel yesterday against Mexico and throughout this tournament.
Passed up that time by Henson. They run the middle, just catches the baseline. As Bukovkin gets the attack to go. Not the cleanest of routes done there by Canada, but get contact on it and able to find the baseline on the way out.
Sakatojo and Bukovkin just talking quickly after that rally, probably about set location. They haven't been perfectly in sync throughout this game.
Blocked that time by Bukovkin out of the middle. It's recycled. Second ball taken now by Gent. Forearm set to the outside and a good swing, but a great dig by Ruiz. To the left side, off the block. Kept in by Zabjak. She takes third contact as well. And takes a bit of a spill on that left side. Looks to be okay. Katojo with a back set to Zabjak. A swing from the Dominican. No contact. It'll be 4 touches called on the Dominican Republic because that swing out of the right side catches the tape.
We're starting to see something we talked about earlier in the match. This Dominican is trying to get some better quality touches on defense, allow them to stay in system. Able to do so here. Ruiz doing a really great job in that back row.
5-3 the advantage for the Dominican Republic. Served by Bell to the right side and a good pickup defensively by Henson. To the outside, Zabjak off the block. Encarnacion leads to the left side. Scramble to keep it alive. This rally continues. No contact by the Dominican Republic. That's going to be 4 touches called on Canada as it clipped off the tape, Tom, and came back. And the point goes to the DR. They're back up 6-3. Philpo. Back to serve now. Passed up by Henson. To the outside, Zabjak. Great dig defensively by Philpo. To the outside, De Los Santos. Passed up by Sol Henson. Great swing, finds the baseline on the attack out of the back row by Sydney Bell as they get the C-ball action involved on that time, Tom.
Yeah, a few good pickups there on that rally. Philpo with a tremendous dig off a strong Canada attack. And then Henson with a good pickup off hands in the back row.
And a scrambled serve receive leads to an ace for Canada. As Sophia Zabjak brings Canada back within 1. (6-5) the lead for the Dominican Republic. Zabjak. Set to the outside, De Los Santos, no contact, out the back. On the attacking error by Harleni De Los Santos.
Quick run here from Canada. Tying the game back up.
Serve again.
Good pressure from the service line.
Tipped over on the right side, able to get there and keep it alive. Henson swings away. And Encarnacion to the right side off the block. Kept alive. And having to adjust, but they flush. Just finds the sideline. Good execution that time by Julie Arias. To look close to that sideline on the flush. But a good execution of the ball there. 7-6 for the Dominican Republic.
We got a wet spot, needs to be cleaned up quickly here on the Dominican side. And man, Arias seeing a lot of action on that right side.
Serve upcoming by Arias. Passed up by Gent on the right side. Ball and a step around Bukovcan. Great timing and execution there on the step around to Maya Bukovcan, and she converts out of the right side, and we're tied at 7.
And much better set there from Katojo, going on the step around to Bukovcan. She's been so solid throughout this tournament in the middle for Canada.
Serve by Bukovcan again, and Encarnacion. Mitt run into the middle for the Dominican this time to set up to Mercedes. Henson can't find the back corner. As we get to the technical timeout, Dominican leading 8-7 on the attacking error that time from Canada. So a good response by the Dominican Republic. They go down 2-0, losing 25-22 in the first, 25-18 in the second, and they come out and close out the third to take it 25-18 of their own. And now get to the tech timeout here, the first of the 2 tech timeouts here, with a 1-point advantage, up 8-7.
Yeah, seen some really good rallies, both teams settling in defensively, trying to extend rallies. Canada can keep their middles involved. They can control that first touch. They're going to have a very good chance to win. We just saw a great run from Katojo to Bukovcan a few points ago. Canada really dominated the middle matchup in the pool play meeting between these 2 teams. Definitely going to be a key going forward, as well as just trying to control the unforced errors on offense. And also Dominicans, if they can keep applying some strong pressure from the service line, they'll be in a good spot. We've seen them in really good. It's 17 aces in their matchup against Costa Rica. So definitely a team who's able to apply pressure from the service line.
Tojo gets it outside to Henson, and Sol Henson converts out of the left side and draws Canada back level, this time at 8 points apiece. And now Anna Nastasi going to come onto the floor, Tom, for Remy Katojo. Could just be a serving sub, or could be an opportunity for Nastasi to give Katojo a bit of a break, or just get a different look coming out of second hands. Tied at 8 points apiece. Nastasi to the service line, can't find the baseline, and a service error. And the point goes back to the Dominican Republic. And that'll bring Victoria Philpo onto the floor and have Crystal Mercedes back to serve. Passed up by Zabjak. Nastasi pushes to the outside. Henson down the line. Overpass. The joust kept alive now. To the outside, Henson again, trying to tip it down the line. It goes out of play. As Nastasi pushes to the outside and gets it to Henson. Tries to go off speed with a tip down the line, but can't quite find the sideline.
Sort of looked like she mistimed that jump a little bit on the out of system set there from Gent. Not able to put a solid contact on and ends up putting it wide.
Great pass and receive that time by Henson. And they get Wigston isolated on the right side pin on the step around. Canada's back within one, it's 10-9. Serve from Sol Henson. Pass is a good one on receive and a great time for the dump by Encarnacion. Tough to read on the misdirection there by Encarnacion. And the lead is now back to 2.
Encarnacion picking a good time to get herself involved before going back to serve.
Nastasi to the right side and a good swing by Bell. And a great location on the set that time by Anna Nastasi. Just a fast-paced execution of that run, Tom. As Nastasi just flips behind her and sees Bell in stride. And it converts, they're back within 1.
Yeah, really nice set there. And Nastasi having to sort of turn towards the net. Able to keep some good pace. Nice swing from Sydney Bell to end that rally.
But a service error that time by Wigston. Gives the point back. As Hernandez back to serve. Float serve upcoming by Hernandez. It's a good one off the arms there of Henson. Zabjak, high ball out of system. Forearm pass across to Bell. And they do the same on the other side from the Dominican. Encarnacion back to the right side off the block. They'll try again. Forearm to the left side pin this time to Los Santos. Passed up by Gent. Nastasi to the outside. Zabjak kept alive defensively though from the Dominican. Tip to the right side. Getting there again is Gent. Nastasi off the block to Zabjak. Kept alive. Is it going to be short? Tipped over. No. Point goes to the Dominican Republic. Canada looking for 4 contacts. And I thought so as well, Tom. It was a little bit, and certainly is.
Yeah, it looked like there may have been 2 kind of when that ball initially came over.
Just see maybe some contact here, or some communication to see. But maybe saying that it was a block touch first. So point's going to stay with the Dominican Republic. It's a 13-10 advantage. So they're saying maybe that it had gone off the head. And a side out that time by Canada on the swing by Zabjak. But maybe considering the contact, Tom, off the head is maybe part of the block that led to, again, a block touch and kept them in sequence for the 4 touches.
Yeah, good response there from Canada. Nastasi with a really nice set, getting pulled over towards that left side pin.
A short serve this time by Bell goes into the net. A point back to the Dominican Republic. They lead 14-11. Another spin serve upcoming. Off the arms there of Henson. Forearm set by Gent to the outside. Zabjak finds the back corner. As Sophia Zabjak responds for Canada. They're back within 2.
Zabjak being one of the biggest anchors of this Canadian offense throughout the tournament. Great swing there to find the back of the floor. She's now in double digits for kills on the day with 10.
Platform gets pulled off a little bit here. Good swing away though to stay on top of the ball. A couple Canadians under the net. Point's going to go to the Dominican Republic. See Coach Schmidt maybe talking to the down official about maybe any timeouts remaining. They trail 15-12.
Henson sort of collided with Nastasi there and sort of pushed her over the center line. Nastasi was sprinting over there, trying to get her hands on and get a set.
Set from Nastasi, comes with pace to the outside. Just gonna get sent over on the free ball. Passed up by Bell. Nastasi with a good lead, but a little bit too far in front of Bukovcan. And that'll take us to the second technical timeout. Dominican Republic leading 16-12.
Yeah, tough rally there for Canada. Poor initial set from Nastasi going to the outside, just left it way too low. And then not able to convert on the free ball. Well-placed free ball from the Dominican Republic, kind of going right over the head. of Nastasi and forcing Bell to come up and play that. Canada not able to get a good first contact on the free ball. We've now got a 4-point lead for the Dominican Republic, trying to stretch this match to a 5th set.
So a 4-point gap coming out of the technical timeout for the Dominican Republic.
Curious if Gina Schmidt's maybe going to go back to Remy Katojo at any point during this set, or she's going to stick with Nastasi. Katojo been the starter basically throughout this entire tournament. Canada really needs to try to bear and get a quick side out here. Not let the Dominican Republic pull away too much and get bailed out with the service error there.
Canada gets one back at 16-13, and that'll bring Yakovkin back to the line and wakes it into the front row.
This would be a great spot. The Canadians can sort of claw their way back into this. You've got Arias back in the back row. Haven't seen too many in-system C-ball sets go her way. And she's been one of the strongest offensive players in this entire match, so big for Canada to try to hold the Dominican here, keep Arias in the back row for as long as they can.
Good short court execution that time by the Dominican to still get an attack on it, to get it back to De Los Santos. Off the hands there, comes back over on first ball. Swing out of the pipe, picked up though by Byakovka. Nastasi to the right side to Bell. Set into the middle, and a good run. Finished off by Mercedes. And it's 17-13.
Some great defense in the back row from the middle. Byakovka for Canada. And a nice job from Encarnacion finding her middle there on that 30 set. Giving the Dominican Republic a 4-point advantage.
Santos onto the floor to serve and goes into the net. And it's a 3-point lead restored. Set from Encarnacion to the outside, and a swing by Amber Hernandez. On a response, gets it back to 18-14.
And we just mentioned it's going to be key for Canada to try to keep Dominican where they were, keep Rice in the back row. A great swing there from Hernandez.
Deep serve, and it's a service error back the other way from Mercedes. And it's a 3-point deficit now for Canada, with Sol Henson back to serve. Pass comes in tight, it's an overpass, and the joust there pushed back by Zabjak. Tipped into the block, and it gets through. Set up by Bell and Wigston, able to find a gap. 19-15.
Another good shot there from Hernandez, the left side. Set off the net just a little bit, able to push that tip through the Canadian block.
And an overpass this time, flushed back by Hernandez.
We're going to see Coach Schmidt take another timeout here.
Timeout taken by Canada indeed. They're trailing by 5. As they'll try to make some adjustments here and get back into this set. Or else we could be going the distance here and into a 5th set in this bronze medal matchup.
Yeah, and this is a tough point in the match if you're Canada. You go up 2-0, you feel like you're completely in control. Their block defense was so good in the first 2 sets. But now the Dominican Republic are pushing their way back, refusing to go down quietly. And for Canada, you can really start to feel that momentum's starting to shift. It's tough when you have it early on in the match and then kind of feel like you're slowly losing it. But some really good fight here from the Dominican Republic team, especially with Arias still in the back row. She's now back up in the front as Encarnacion goes to serve.
Set from Nastasi to the outside, gets through with the attack by Zabjak. To the left side, tipped over and put back by Canada. And they do it again with Bell. Dominican called on the net from Julia Arias.
All right, she's a bit too eager there. Really crucial now for the Dominican Republic. They have Arias back in the front row.
Brooke Fermaniuk going to come on to serve here for Kingston. We've seen some strong serves in this role throughout the tournament from Brooke Fermaniuk. We'll see if she can do so again and steal a couple from the line here for Canada and claw their way back in to get to level terms here in the later stages of this fourth set. It's a deep float serve. It's played up by Ruiz. Second ball by Encarnacion. A little bit choppy, but forearm sent over, drops to the open floor. Point goes to the Dominican. They're back up by 5.
Yeah, Canada really just needs to take a breath there. Always tough. Losing a point on a free ball, you can kind of see it's perfectly placed there with Ashlyn Gent, the libero, off the floor, so no one really stepping up to take that one for Canada.
And off the arms of the platform there of Zabjak. And the run continues here. Timeout taken by Canada. They trail 22-16. So a 6-point deficit facing the Canadians now. But as we mentioned earlier, this was the juncture yesterday where Canada was down the exact same scoreline, a 22-16 deficit, calling a timeout and getting their bearings back a little bit and coming back onto the floor and actually coming away with the set victory. And it was an impressive stretch from Canada in that sequence. But we'll see if the Dominican puts the foot on the gas and continues to roll here as Amber Hernandez back to the line once again. Float serve passed up there by Gent to the outside, tipped over the top. Set to the left side, off the block. Kept alive though. Good defense there by the Dominican. Gent to Nastasi into the middle. Bukovkin gets recycled. Set to the left side this time. Down the line. Great dig by Encarnacion. To the right side. Arias off the block. Gent hustles to get there again. Zabjak off the block. And a big point there for Canada, staying the course. And then a great swing off the top of the block by Sophia Zabjak.
And it's a really nice pick up there from Ashlyn Gent on the tip shot from Dominican Republic. Laying out to keep that rally alive.
Here is Bell. Back to serve. Set to the left side. De Los Santos finds the baseline. Arlene De Los Santos. And Katojo will come back onto the floor here, Tom, for Anastasi.
Great cross-court swing there from De Los Santos in the last point. Putting the Dominican Republic close to the finish line of this fourth set.
Off the arms there of Zabjak. Katojo to the outside. Zabjak converts. On the swing out of the left side, Sophia Zabjak finds the gap in the defense. Henson back into the front row. (23-18) for the Dominican Republic. Served by Zabjak. It's a good pass and receive though. Run out into the middle. Katojo to the left side. Henson converts again for Canada as Ruiz is moving to her right and maybe giving some feedback to her defensive partners beside her about location. 23-19, Canada within 4. Zabjak pulled off, and this high ball set goes out, and it's a great swing though. De Los Santos off the hands of Fermaniuk and into the stands. As we'll get Mondesi coming in for the Dominican Republic and Kingston back onto the floor for Canada, who will then give way to Gent. Set point for the Dominican. (24-19). don't see Vargas or Encarnacion on the floor here for the Dominicans, so maybe tried to close this one out either with an ace or a block. Katojo to the right side. Passed up. Mercedes takes second ball to the right side off the block. It's actually Arias who takes second ball in the set to the left side. And the Dominican Republic takes set number 4, 25-19. And this is tied up at 2 sets apiece, Tom, and we're going to a 5th and deciding set for the NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal.
Yeah, great job closing out that 4th set from Dominican Republic. Especially the last point, not having a setter on the floor. Arias stepping up. Dominican Republic just playing some really clean ball in that 4th set. Doing a great job on offense. Canada's block hasn't been as strong as it was throughout the first 2 sets.
The Dominican taking the 4th set, 25-19, and we'll be back for the 5th set. You're watching Canada and the Dominican Republic on CBC Sports. Welcome back to the Athletics and Recreation Center. 5th set action here in the NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup bronze medal match between Canada and the Dominican Republic. Canada taking the first 2, 25-22 and 25-18, but losing 25-18, 25-19 in sets 3 and 4. Again, a sprint to 15 here to close out this match. Momentum shifting in the favor of the Dominican Republic, with victories in the last 2 sets. But again, anything can happen. All that momentum goes out the door heading into a 5th set. We'll start off with Encarnacion with the serve. Passed off there by Henson's got to go over. Aware of that was Katojo. Set to the right side, out of bounds on the attack. Again, off of serve receive there, Tom. And we're seeing for the first time tonight, Emerson Matthews onto the floor for Canada, as she has come in for Sophia Zabjak.
Yeah, sort of surprised we didn't see her early on in this match. Led Canada yesterday against Mexico with 19 points, 17 kills, but now only seeing action for the first time here late in this match.
Borov set to the outside, and Matthews puts her stamp on the 5th set with a swing out of the left side. As an out-of-system forearm ball from Sol Henson has great location on it for Matthews to swing away, and it's 2-0 to start. Wasutik back onto the floor as well, Tom. Tipped into the middle, sent back by Bukovkin. As again, the service pressure there from Wasutik. Early timeout taken here by the Dominican Republic. As Canada's up 3-0.
And a great play in the middle there from Bukovcan, just staying home on that back row hands. Waiting until Encarnacion and contacted it. And it was just an easy block from there as Dominican Republic wasn't able to get a strong attack. Canada can just find that blocking presence again like we saw in the first and second set. It'll be a big key, I think, for the Dominican Republic, just staying scrappy on defense. They outdug Canada 25-20 in that last set. Starting to see some better quality contacts on defense, leading to some more in-system attacks. Canada with the early edge here in the fifth.
Deep serve by Wasutik just out the back. That one looked initially like it was going to go well out, but then took a dive at the end. But it does go out for a service error, point to the Dominican Republic. That'll bring Hernandez back to the line.
Yeah, it looked like it missed by inches there, Kyle.
Served by Hernandez, passed up by Matthews, who gets it back, and Matthews can't convert, no touch on the block, clips the tape. And they're back within one. 3-2 for Canada. Deep serve, oh, it looked like it was going out the back. Sounded like communication was just starting to form there, but really tough to make those decisions that quickly. Henson puts the platform up, clips off the arms and out of play. Point to the Dominican. 3-3. Passed up this time by Henson's a good one to the outside, and Matthews straight down the line. Emerson Matthews continuing where she left off yesterday. As Nastasi going to come on to serve and maybe offer again some backhands or another setting option on the floor.
I think primarily Coach Schmidt just bringing and passing in. She's the only spin server on this Canadian team, so trying to apply some pressure on the Dominican from the service line.
And it finds the baseline. Nastasi with the ace for Canada. They're back up by 2. It's 5-3.
Said fifth set, only going to 15. Points start to matter a lot quicker. Canada really hungry to try to get their first ever medal at this tournament.
Sent back over there by Bukovcan. It goes tooled off the hands and out of play. As you see Bukovcan at the end there, Tom, sort of taking some accountability, maybe instead of going for the flush, maybe protecting the ball a little bit more and allowing Canada to get back in system.
Yeah, she went up for the initial flush. Probably could have played it more as a free ball and tried to get an actual attack, and then just wasn't able to close fully on that block.
But responding is Matthews. Out of system, doesn't matter. What an attack by Matthews. The lead back to 2. It's 6-4.
Some really nice aggressive swings from Matthews coming in. Probably a little bit cold, been on the bench for the majority of this match, but coming in, contributing right away.
It's served by Matthews, having to adjust under the tape. The point's going to go to the Dominican. It looked as though there was a foot maybe under the line there, Tom, but perhaps not having any impact or bearing on the rest of the rally, so they let that one fly.
Maybe just a full foot in it, come down. So close though.
6-5 for Canada. Arias back to serve, passed up by Matthews. Katojo to the right side, sent back to by Bukovcan. Forearm set to the outside, and a block by Katojo and Bukovcan. You see Remy Katojo at the end of that one, Tom, having a little bit of a look at the end. As to say, try again next time.
Yeah, Katojo blocks exceptionally well for a setter.
7-5.
Physical presence up at the net.
Bukovcan with the serve. Eats up the receive a little bit here. They're pulled off the net. It's a roll shot. Opportunity now for Canada. To the outside. Henson! Sol Henson with her best attack of the night. And we get to the changeover. Up 8-5 is Canada. With a 3-point gap to close here. in this 5th set of the bronze medal match.
Really nice aggressive swing there from Henson. Talked about how Canada dominated in the middle in the pool play matchup. So far today, it's been the Canada outsides who have really helped them have some success in this game. In the combination of Henson, Bell, Zabchek, and now Matthews into the game.
Bukovkin back to serve now for Canada. Deep float serve, passed up by De Los Santos, who gets it back on 3rd ball. Bukovkin with the dig to the outside. Henson again, and Sol Henson elevating her play when it's needed most. Excellent couple of points from Sol Henson. Canadian captain with back-to-back kills for the Canadians. Their lead goes to 4. It's 9-5. Bukovkin again with the serve. Good pass and receive though, and they run the middle, but it's blocked and kept alive. Point's gonna go to Canada. 4 touches called on the Dominican Republic. And we're gonna get a substitution coming here as Mondesi gonna come on, as will Vargas. So they'll do the double sub, Tom, and try to steal a few points here now. 5 points to push to close out the match here for Canada, and it is a 5-point gap. Bukovkin with another strong serve, passed up by Ruiz. Vargas to the outside, Mondesi cuts back. Set, dumped across there by, somebody on the net's gonna be Canada. It's Canada's point. Dominican called on the net. Be a timeout taken here by the Dominican Republic. They trail by 6, it's 11-5. And after 2 strong sets to start the match that put Canada up 2-0, there was a response by the Dominican. A 3-point set advantage for, in the first set for Canada. Then was a 25-18 second set victory, 25-18 answer by the Dominican in the 3rd, and then a 25-19 edge for the Dominican in the 4th. But now we're into the 5th set, 11-5, a 6-point gap here now for Canada, and 4 points to push to close out for the bronze medal.
And Coach Zucchetto for the Dominican Republic opting for the double sub, trying to keep back hands, keep 3 attackers up front. Which brought Mondesi back in, number 9. And she has the net fault. And the last point puts Canada up 6.
Serving again is Bukovkin. Set to the right side, off the top of the block. Nastasi gets away from her a little bit, but having to adjust there was Katojo. Tipped over, good movement that time by Bukovkin. To the left side, Henson off the block, gets scooped up there by Bukovkin, who's in a good spot defensively, but tries to kind of pull that one back. Gets called for the lift.
And now we're going to see Arias come back into the game, as well as Encarnacion. Arias been one of the best attackers on the floor today. Let's see if they utilize Hurdall in the back row.
Arlene De Los Santos on to serve. Canada called out a rotation.
I think it's going to be
Wasutik.
Wasutik just leaving a little bit early. She was trying to get over, probably to run that step around, and just left a little bit early.
And they run Katojo, tipped over by Henson, and Sol Henson finds the floor on the tip. Point back to Canada as Stojanovic going to come back onto the floor here and will serve for Remy Katojo. And with Anastasi already subbed in here for Bell, that'll keep the set of hands on the floor here for Canada. Stojanovic will serve.
Stojanovic came in with a great substitution in the last set. 3 points from the service line. Taking out Katojo is going to mean Canada's going to have front hands here.
Set to the outside, Hernandez. Passed up there by Matthews. Nastasi into the middle, gets wiped by Wasutik. Forearm set to the outside, off the block, can't get there. Was Gent. And the Dominican Republic are back within 4. It's 12-8. For Canada. Again, 3 points to push here. Pass comes in tight from Matthews. Good dump across there by Nastasi. Touched into the middle. They try to reset. Nastasi into the middle again, and a good cut. That time by Abby Wasutik.
Great middle run in transition there. Keeping things fast. And a great swing from Wasutik, just finding the back third of that court.
An excellent set that time by Anna Nastasi. Henson with the serve off the platform, and Carnacion to the outside. Hernandez swings through the block. Takes one back here for the Dominican Republic as Amber Hernandez with a great swing.
And Hernandez now tied for the lead in this match. 16 points. That was her 12th kill. Great job on the left side.
And a short serve into the net brings Canada to match point. And that'll bring Fermaniuk back onto the floor to serve for Abby Wasutik. And it would be a great opportunity for Fermaniuk to close it out with an ace. She's been so great in this role throughout the course of the tournament. Does she have one more left in her here? 14-9. And it's a good serve, and it's passed up well. Set to the left side, tipped over the top. Stojanovic there, set to the left side. Matthews blocked. Extends the match for one more. 14-10. Gent onto the floor. As they'll bring Fermaniuk back off the floor. As Gent takes her place back in serve receive. With Henson and Matthews. Stojanovic calling ins and outs. Bukovkin here on the near side, and Nastasi in the front row. Float serve coming by Hernandez. Passed up by Henson. It's a high ball on first contact. The step around puts an end to the bronze medal match. And a perfect execution on the final point there, Tom. Great high ball on serve receive. Nastasi with a great back set on the step around to Bukovkin. And we talked about that route being so important to Canada's tactics throughout the course of the entire tournament. And what a great way to finish off the tournament here for Canada, running that route and finishing off a 5-set marathon here. They take it 15-10.
Yeah, great finish by the Canadians. Really good job just regrouping after dropping sets 3 and 4. Come back. Played great throughout that 5th set. We saw them pick things up on the offensive side of the ball. Some efficient attacking and then a great run to finish it off there. And they're in their first medal here on home soil.
So an excellent matchup finished off with a 15-10 5th set victory for Team Canada. As Tom mentioned, winning their first medal at this NORCECA Girls Under-19 Championship. And it will be bronze. And a great tournament here for them at the Arc in front of the home fans. Stay tuned as we have the gold medal matchup coming here after the warm-up and introductions. It'll be a rematch between Mexico and the United States from their matchup in pool play that went the way of the U.S. in a straight sets victory. But should be a great final showdown and culmination of our tournament here. So stay tuned for that. You're watching the U19 NORCECA Girls Pan American Cup on CBC Sports.